Hello everybody, my name is Turbo, and welcome back to the archive. Now, today I will try to keep this intro pretty short, but I made this video very different. Let's just say that. It's nothing like what I've been doing previously, but I don't know, it was one of those things that just, the passion, like in the moment, I just wanted to do it. This is just a series that I absolutely adore. It's very near and dear to my heart, and the newest book just came out, and so I read that. And as long as I get this video done in time, the anime for this series is actually going to be coming out quite soon as well. So I kind of figured it was the perfect time. So, without further ado, join me as I simply rant and rave about Witch Hat Atelier. So I'll just give a brief overview before we start here for those that aren't as familiar with the series. Um, Witch Hat Atelier is a manga that, according to the brief Google search I did, started back in 2016. And it is written by Kamoe Shirahama. I sometimes have trouble with different names, so I will toss that name up on screen here, so you can decide and let me know in the comments if I absolutely butchered that name or not. If I did, please leave the proper pronunciation in the comments. But so the briefest, kind of most bare bones description I can give of the series is that it is about a girl named Coco who wants to be a witch more than anything else, and when she finally gets that chance, it's kind of her journey as she just like tries to train to be a witch and so on and so forth. There's a fair bit more to it, and I am going to dive into it in detail, but I'm just kind of leaving it the most bare bones that I can right there. I would highly recommend you go and check out the series if you have not already read it yourselves. Because just so you know, this is kind of your cutoff point. I know it's pretty early, but I am going to get into more spoilery stuff. You should be still safe for a little bit here. I am just going to kind of go over what happens in kind of the beginning of the book that kind of sets up the general premise in a lot more detail here. But after that, I am not really gonna hold off on spoilers, just so you know. However, if I can, I will try to kind of edit a point in here, like a warning on screen or something that will tell you, hey, run if you don't want spoilers. But anyway, so our story begins with a young girl named Coco just doing some household chores. She's talking about how there is magic everywhere in this world. There's all these little contraptions that witches make to make their lives easier. Like they have like ponds of water that they can just dump their wastewater into, and it's purified instantly, and all of these things that just help their lives so much. And she, more than anything else, really wants to be a witch. However, we are very quickly told that that is not possible for her. You have to be born a witch in order to have these powers, and unfortunately, she just wasn't. But that never stops her from trying to become a witch. Even in one of the first couple pages we see with her, she is like taking out like a sheet that she's drying, and she's like speaking an incantation about it becoming her cloak of flight, and then the wind promptly picks up and takes it away, and where she runs after it and says, no, not, I didn't mean that. But so she's still trying, even though everyone around her is always telling her it's futile, it's pointless, you cannot become a witch, you know, stop having your head in the clouds. But that still doesn't, you know, stop her. You know, she's young. She does not give up on that type of thing. She still really has hope that maybe someday she can become a witch. And so she runs this, she helps her mother out at their, I think it's just a small like textile shop and stuff like that. And one day, some nobles come in a Pegasus carriage, which is like a very sought after kind of magical item. That like only like rich people can use. So she is obviously immediately taken by this, and asks her mom that if she helps out and like finishes her chores, that she can go and see the carriage, just because she loves magic so much. And when she finally does, she runs out to the carriage, only to find out that some other local children have broken the carriage, upon which the noble ladies that have taken it there are very, very upset. And she, however, who should be there but one of the patrons in their shop right now, who just happens to be Queefrey, I think is how you pronounce his name, the witch. So he goes and offers to repair the Pegasus cart for these girls. And Coco, more than anything, really wants to watch him cast the magic. She wants to see this. However, he tells her that he has a very important job for her, and promptly locks her outside. He basically tells her, make sure no one else gets into this room while I'm casting the magic. Just stay there. However, she does find a way into the room through a skylight or something that they have. So she sneaks in, and she's watching, and then as she's watching all this, she sees kind of the true secret of magic, in that it is not words that are spoken to cast it. He is drawing out magic circles. In this world, magic is not spoken, it is drawn. And then she has a flashback to when she was younger. She was at a festival, and she found kind of a strange person off to the side wearing a mask. And this person kind of, pointed out how wonderful magic was and stuff like that, and she agreed. So the person sold her a spell book, which just had a bunch of symbols inside it that she couldn't understand, but also included a free wand, which was only a pen. At the time, she thought nothing of it, basically that she just got scammed, but really thought she maybe had a shot to do magic. Well, now that she knows what magic actually is and that it's drawn, now she realizes that the fact that she was gifted a pen as a wand was no coincidence. So she goes and starts drawing all of these spells in the book. And they start doing different things. The moment she finishes her first one, it lights up, and she is fascinated. She can actually do magic. And so she starts drawing all these different ones and stuff like that, but she doesn't really have any idea what any of them do. And so as she keeps drawing, suddenly the witch Queefrey is behind her, because she had told him the story of how he came into this book, and he thought that was very odd. Magic, or anything even resembling magic, should not be falling into an ordinary girl's hands this easily. And he kind of realizes that the people that sold it to her are probably not good people. And he finds her just in the nick of time, because the spell she just drew turns everything to stone. So he gets her out of there as her entire house turns to rock, including her mother inside it. So without knowing the consequences of magic, she now unwittingly turned her mother to stone. And she feels horrible about this, and Queefrey tells her that magic is actually something anyone can do. It's just a closely guarded secret. As long as you have ink and a pen, you can cast magic, and that is the most highly guarded secret of the witches, is that anyone can actually do it, but they have their reasons for why they don't want they don't want everyone to be able to do it. And this is explained in more detail later. I could go off on a whole side tangent about that now, but I won't. However, he then tells her that, some people, if you find out about magic, you get your memories wiped. If you find out this secret, you get your memories wiped of magic. Well, and Coco really doesn't want this, because then, she would rather find a way to help fix her mom and the damage that she's already done. And so Queefrey makes an exception for her and kind of says, okay, we can't really let anyone know about this, but I will let you become a witch, and then we will find a way to fix your mom. And then, you know what? Let's make this kind of the cutoff point. That's kind of where the overarching plot comes in. So warning, anything beyond this is, I'm gonna do a few more character introductions to some of the other characters that we meet, and then I'm just gonna go in on other bits of the story. I will try not to spoil everything that happens, but I am going to talk about some of the more recent stuff and just some of the other big parts, you know, that come up and things like that. So this is kind of your warning to get out now. If that first part has hooked you enough to go and read it, I highly suggest you do. It's very, very good. Alright, if you are still here, I assume you have decided to heed the spoiler warning and are still continuing here. So essentially what happens next is Quiffery immediately brings Coco to his atelier, where she then meets kind of the rest of our cast here. We have Tita, who is just an absolute ray of sunshine to everyone around. And then we also have Rika, who is, I guess quirky is kind of about one of the only ways I can describe her. Not in like a cringy way or anything. That's part I'll let you read to figure out if you haven't read the series yet. And then of course lastly, Agate. And so he brings her here, he shows her around the atelier, and kind of shows her how wonderful magic can be. He talks about how there are certain types of magic that are forbidden because they cause harm to others. Like, you know, specifically like the spells that Coco used, the turning people to stone. Very, very forbidden, but he kind of tells her that, you know, magic can also do a lot of good things, and he's showing her kind of the beauty that this can create. I mean, my gosh, just look at some of these panels. These are just absolutely gorgeous artwork. And he kind of says, like, okay, like, this magic can do so many bad things, but look at all the wonderful things it can do too. So if you're going to learn magic, why not learn how to, you know, make wonderful things happen for people? And she is completely taken by this, and she's absolutely with it. So she kind of gets her first couple lessons, like how to draw her first few spells. However, the standard thing for witches to do before they get to go and study at an atelier is to take a certain test. Basically, go up to the top of a certain mountain range using magic and pick a flower off the top and come back down. And of course Coco hasn't done this, which is something that Agate is not happy about, because this is something that every witch is supposed to do, and Agate does not care about the circumstances that Coco is here for. So one day when Quiffery is gone, Agate basically sends Coco off to the mountain range. I'm sure by the picture you're seeing right now, calling it a mountain range is a bit of a stretch, but you know, forbidden magic does a lot of stuff, and this is just one of those things. And so Coco goes, and you know, she isn't even really sure how to get up there right away, but then you kind of see that she uses some of the things that she's learned, and some of the mistakes she's made earlier has kind of come back to help her as she finally fully casts like her first spells that she's like made up of her own, and actually creates her cloak of flight that get her to the top of the mountain. And it was just a really good part. I cannot tell you guys enough how good this series is. And I mean, a big contributor to this is the artwork. I mean, just look at these like panels and like all the detail that goes into these. I am just a 100% believer that this person must absolutely just love what they do to make like these different like sketches and stuff like that, or to make these panels the way they do. I mean, like, there's so much detail here, and like sometimes like the way different like objects become the border and just everything else. I guess I'm not like a massive manga aficionado or anything, but like from the other manga that I've read, I just haven't seen any other ones do this. I think this series just absolutely spoils you for art, even if you're not really big into manga or something like that, but you're just kind of an art lover. I just 10 out of 10 recommend this. This is just gorgeous. And then you get all like these little just kind of like extra drawings and stuff like that that just look wonderful. It's just an absolutely beautiful series. And while the art is like one of its massive strengths, like that also does not take away from the writing in the slightest. The writing is so good, at least in my opinion. I know a lot of that stuff can be subjective, but I like it a lot. The character growth and everything that they do is really good. I won't talk about that too much because I'd rather not spoil that type of stuff for you. But then they also have like the magic system. The magic system is also like really interesting. It largely is just them like drawing symbols and stuff like that, and but it's really interesting to see how they figure things out and how they kind of tweak spells. It makes it much more of like almost like a science that you can understand. Like you really kind of understand like how they're getting these different like spells to work and stuff like that. And it also does very much go to show that like the dangerous consequences and stuff of the forbidden magic far beyond just Coco turning her mother to stone. Like there is some massive downsides to like parts of this magic system. Like for example, in one of the earlier books, I believe it's kind of around books like 4 and 5, Quifrey is talking about this like ancient like kingdom that used to exist that was known for their gold and stuff like that, and they were like cut off from the outside world. They basically created a maze, like a magical maze, to get into the kingdom and to cut it off, but they started letting in like the few select people that would actually like benefit the kingdom. And then they kind of started to flip that around, that if you didn't offer like expressed value to the kingdom, you were better off as a gold statue to decorate the kingdom. And it got so much worse once you realize that these people, when they turn them to gold, were not dead. They actually find a bunch of sentient, moving gold statues that are highly angry, that have been down there for just hundreds of years in constant pain. Like, this forbidden magic can just do some horrifying things. And that makes Coco wonder, like, oh no, like, is that what is happening to my mom right now, that she's encased in the stone but still fully aware of like everything that's going on around her? It's really rather harrowing. And they even talk about there is like transformation magic and stuff like that, but it's forbidden to draw seals on any part of your body, because once you draw it on there, or like a tattoo, you really can't get rid of it. And this is like demonstrated as as like a evil witch comes over and like snags like one of the kids and draws a sigil on them, transforming them into this thing called like a scale wolf. And as you can see here, the transformation like is not painless. It's pretty harrowing, and this is something that can't be fixed. Like the sigil kind of, as far as I know, it kind of disappears once the transformation is done. It's not something that they can really undo for the most part. They actually do find a way to kind of like temporarily undo it if the guy wears like a necklace or something with a like a counter seal that will temporarily it'll transform him back. But when he takes the seal off, he'll go back to being the wolf. So while it is kind of like a temporary fix, he can never completely go back to normal. It's like a very like permanent thing. But yeah, anyway, that is about all I got for now without going into too much more. This was a really random video to make, but book 14 of Witch Hat Atelier just came out. So far, this series is 14 books long, and I mean, I own every volume. I absolutely love this series. I discovered it like about a year ago, and I caught up with it super quick. Like the books aren't very long; they take you, maybe a half hour or so to read. Like they're not. It's not a very long read. So, I mean, I highly recommend this to just anybody. I mean, that's kind of why I'm making this video. I just kind of wanted to talk about a series that I really like, and not to mention we have the anime kind of right around the corner. I believe it comes out like April 6th, so just like a couple weeks from this video. Like, man, I really can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see it, how they do the art. But yeah, I guess that's really all I got. I mean, once again, can't recommend it enough. Highly recommend that anyone watching this, if any part of this is like intrigued you in the slightest, whether it's just, the gorgeous artwork, or if you think like the story that I was kind of presenting sounds interesting with the magic and stuff, like I highly recommend. Trust me, I don't really have a way with words. I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head right now. I don't have a script for this video or anything like that. I am just simply talking about something that I really like. So my words are probably not doing it justice in the slightest. But if any part of this sounded even remotely interesting, go check it out, because I think you'll probably really like it. But yeah, anyway, that is all of my ranting and raving on Witch Hat Atelier. Alright everybody, welcome to the end of the video. So yeah, sorry, I know this is a lot different from basically anything I've been doing previously, but I don't know, the book 14 of Witch Hat, like, just came out this month. I actually forgot it was out. I was just going through my local bookstore, and there it was, and so I cannot tell you how fast I picked up that book and, like, ran out of there. Um, and then I just read it all in one sitting immediately after that, and I was just like, man, I really want to do a Witch Hat video, and then I just did. So yeah, sorry, it wasn't I know the visuals probably weren't the best, but that was literally just me like taking pictures of the panels with my phone. I basically just wanted to be like straight from the source material, and I wasn't. I guess I haven't read much manga online or anything, so I didn't really know where to find like like scans and stuff like that. But I also thought just showing it straight from the book of what you'd be getting was kind of a good way to do that. So I hope it wasn't too bad at the very least. But yeah, um, I hope you guys enjoyed all that stuff about Witch Hat. Maybe you found the video. Maybe you clicked on this one and like now you'll maybe check out the anime or something like that if all this sounded interesting enough to you, or maybe you were just a Witch Hat fan that saw some random person talking about a series that you like and wanted to hear more about it. Either way, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time you decide to visit the archive. Goodbye.